Breaking news as we welcome you back to NFL Live. Let's bring in Adam Schefter as you are seeing the tweet he just put out on the screen. Adam, what is going on here? What do we need to know?
Laura, Brian Flores, the former Miami Dolphins head coach, and his attorneys filed a lawsuit today in a court in Manhattan that alleges racism in hiring from the New York Giants, the Miami Dolphins, the Denver Broncos, and the National Football League. He is seeking unspecified damages for the process that is well spelled out in this lawsuit that was filed today. There are texts from New England Patriots head coach Bill Belichick that are being used as evidence in which Bill Belichick congratulates, essentially, Brian Flores, thinking that it was Brian Daboll, and Bill Belichick then saying, "I'm sorry to have gotten this wrong, but yes, I believe they're naming Brian Daboll as the next head coach," when Brian Flores hadn't even interviewed for the job yet. And so this obviously is just unfolding now. It's a bombshell lawsuit. There are many accusations. This is going to have ripple effects across the league, and we'll see how this is handled. Now, Brian Flores was scheduled to interview for the New Orleans Saints head coaching job today. He was a finalist for the Houston Texans head coaching job. So this becomes really interesting now, and obviously he has some strong accusations that he's mounting against the NFL, other teams in the league, but he is alleging racism in hiring.
Yeah, I've read through the text messages just as people at home right now are probably getting this information as well. And Adam, just to reiterate that point that you made, the text that Brian Flores was receiving from Bill Belichick happened before Flores had even interviewed for the Giants job. And of course, Bill Belichick congratulating him, thinking he's texting Brian Daboll, who ultimately was hired. I'm interested in following up on the beginning of the process here when we knew that there would be a number of openings in the NFL for head coaching jobs. And we all said, and including you, Adam, that Brian Flores would be top of the list for many of these teams. Now, if you think about the openings that are still available, those two teams that you just named there, and specifically the New Orleans Saints, where do you think Flores falls in all of this now that obviously the bigger picture here is a lawsuit?
Well, Laura, this is going to be interesting to see the effects that this lawsuit has on the hiring process. And clearly, Brian Flores had to think of all the fallout that would come with filing a bombshell lawsuit like this against the National Football League. Now, the National Football League has wanted Brian Flores to be hired as a head coach. At least we thought so prior to this lawsuit. But after something like this, when he's suing the league and all the teams in the lawsuit, clearly you would think, I'm not a legal expert, that would jeopardize his chances at getting one of these jobs. But he had to know just what he was doing before he filed that lawsuit seeking unspecified damages from the National Football League and some of the teams in the NFL.
And obviously at this point, Brian Flores is thinking about the Rooney Rule and the lack of diversity amongst head coaches in the NFL and thinking maybe there's a bigger picture opportunity here. Adam, go ahead.
Well, let's just continue to point out also that as we speak, there is one African-American head coach in the National Football League left right now. That's Mike Tomlin. And this hiring process is going on where 9 NFL teams had head coaching vacancies, where 4 of them have now filled those positions. No African Americans have gotten those jobs so far. There are 5 positions left as we speak. And so everybody's waiting to see if the hiring record can be as abysmal as what it has been in recent years when there have been efforts made to try to give more opportunities to African American coaches. And it hasn't happened the way I would think that many people had hoped and wanted it to happen. And here we are now where everybody's wondering what's happening, and Brian Flores is filing a lawsuit alleging racism in hiring. So that's obviously very damning. There includes a lot of evidence in there, and then the results themselves deliver another message.
Yeah, and you think about from Brian Flores' perspective, trying to go through this process as any other candidate for a head coaching job would, and then ending up at this roadblock and then potentially a turning point going forward.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.